Ava believed space always had an end. He said it without hesitation. I just need a few days. No argument, no raised voice, just a sentence that sounded temporary. Ava nodded, because nothing in that moment felt like something that wouldn't return. The door closed quietly behind him, and Ava stayed where she was, already waiting for something she didn't yet understand. Ava and Lucas had been together for 2 years. Not intensely, not dramatically. Their relationship existed in a steady rhythm, shared routines, predictable weekends, conversations that didn't require effort. Lucas wasn't expressive. He didn't explain what he felt in detail. He avoided conflict in subtle ways, by changing the subject, by going quiet, by stepping back instead of stepping in. Ava had learned how to exist around that. She didn't push too hard, didn't ask questions twice, didn't hold on to moments that felt unclear. It worked. At least it created something that felt stable. But over time, stability began to feel thinner, less grounded. Lucas started responding later, sometimes reading messages without replying, sometimes replying just enough to keep things from becoming obvious. There were evenings when they sat together, but the connection didn't fully reach. Ava would speak, Lucas would nod, but something in his attention felt partial, like he was already somewhere else. The shift didn't happen in a single moment. It unfolded gradually. A canceled plan here, a delayed reply there, an answer that didn't fully match the question. Ava noticed, but she didn't interrupt it, because nothing was clear enough to confront, and because she believed it would correct itself. There was one evening that stayed with her. They were sitting in silence, not uncomfortable, but not connected either. Ava looked at Lucas. Is something wrong? Lucas didn't answer immediately. I don't know. That answer stayed, long after the conversation ended. After that, things didn't break. They just moved further apart, quietly, until the moment arrived. Lucas stood near the door, not packed, not leaving in a visible way, just positioned like someone who had already stepped out internally. I think I need a few days. Ava looked at him, trying to measure the meaning. A few days for what? Lucas hesitated. Just to think. There was no explanation beyond that. No clarity, no timeline that felt certain. Ava didn't stop him, because stopping him would have meant something was wrong, and she wasn't ready to define it that way. So she let him go, believing something simple, that giving space would bring him back. The door closed, softly, and nothing in that moment felt final. The first day felt almost unchanged. Ava moved through her routine, checked her phone occasionally. Lucas replied when she texted. Short messages. I'm okay, just need time. It felt temporary, controlled. The second day stretched longer. Ava didn't text first. She waited. Lucas didn't reach out. The silence wasn't heavy yet, just noticeable. By the third day, the waiting had a shape. Ava checked her phone more often, reread the last messages, trying to understand something that hadn't been said. On the fourth day, she texted, Do you want to talk? The reply came later. Not yet. That was the first clear shift, small but irreversible. Time moved differently after that. Days lost their edges. Ava continued everything she needed to do, work, errands, conversations with other people, but everything existed alongside waiting. Lucas didn't disappear completely. He remained present in fragments, occasional replies, short responses, delayed enough to stretch time between them. Ava adjusted. She told herself not to push, not to rush him, that patience mattered, that giving him space was the right thing, because anything else might push him further away. Weeks passed. The communication didn't stop, but it didn't return either. It stayed in between, and that space became heavier than silence. There were moments when Ava almost asked directly, "Are you coming back?" The question stayed in her mind longer each time, but she didn't send it, because asking would define everything. And as long as she didn't ask, nothing had officially ended. Lucas's replies became less frequent, shorter, more distant. Sometimes a full day passed, then 2, then longer. And Ava noticed something slowly. He wasn't leaving suddenly. He was fading. She started remembering small things differently. Moments that once felt neutral now felt incomplete. Times when Lucas had stepped away from conversations. Times when he had chosen silence instead of clarity. They rearranged themselves in her memory, not as problems, but as patterns. Ava didn't feel anger. That surprised her. She expected something sharper, something louder. Instead, there was something quieter, a kind of tired understanding. One evening, Ava opened their conversation again, scrolled slowly, old messages, photos, fragments of something that used to feel present. Now it felt distant, not in time, but in meaning. She realized something without deciding to. There had never been a moment where Lucas said it was over. No final conversation, no defined ending. Just a request for space. And the space never closed. Ava put her phone down, not expecting it to light up, not waiting for a message. Because at some point, the waiting had ended on its own. Not resolved, not explained, just finished. Days later, her phone did light up. A message from Lucas. Simple. "Hey, how are you?" Ava looked at it, read it once, then again. There was no urgency, no pull to respond immediately. Just a quiet recognition of what it was. Not a return, not a continuation. Just something that appeared too late to belong anywhere. She placed the phone face down, and for a moment she sat there, not thinking about him, not replaying anything, not asking herself what it meant. Just noticing the absence of something that used to occupy space. Not painfully, not sharply, just clearly. Later that night, Ava moved through her apartment, turning off lights one by one. The same routine, the same quiet. But it felt different. Not heavier, not lighter, just settled. As if something had already been removed and everything else had quietly adjusted around it. And when her phone lit up again, Ava didn't check it. Not out of restraint, not out of decision, but because without realizing when it happened, she had stopped expecting anything to be there. If this story felt familiar, there are more like it here.